If you're heading into your Sunday with plans across Canada, this is one of those days where the weather really depends on where you are. Because we've got everything from extreme cold in the north to sunshine in the west and active winter weather across the east. So let's break it all down so you know exactly what to expect through today and into the start of the week. Starting off in the north, this is where the cold is really making an impact. Temperatures across parts of Nunavut are brutally low. We're talking about readings dropping to around -28 degrees, but when you factor in the wind chill, it feels closer to -38. That is dangerously cold, and it doesn't take long for frostbite to set in under those conditions. What's interesting is how localized this intense cold is. If you move just a bit west toward areas like Whitehorse, temperatures are much milder in comparison, sitting closer to -4. So the core of that extreme Arctic air is really centered over Nunavut and surrounding regions. Now let's move into where the active weather is happening, and that's across eastern Canada. We've just seen one system move out of Newfoundland early Sunday morning, but right behind it, another system is already on the way. This is an Alberta clipper, and it's expected to bring another round of significant snowfall, especially for parts of Nova Scotia. Unlike the previous system, this one is expected to track in a way that focuses more of the snow over Nova Scotia, while areas like New Brunswick and Prince Edward Island may not see as much impact. But as we head into late Monday, this system will push into Newfoundland, and that's where conditions could really deteriorate again. Parts of southeastern Newfoundland, including the Burin Peninsula and the Avalon region, are likely to see some of the heaviest snowfall. Through Monday night and into Tuesday morning, snowfall totals could climb significantly, with some areas potentially seeing upwards of 30 centimeters. Even in places like St. John's, snowfall amounts around 25 centimeters are possible. That kind of snow will have a big impact on travel, especially along major routes like the Trans-Canada Highway. Now, as this system evolves, it's not just about snow. As milder air begins to push in from the south, we could start to see some mixing. That means snow could transition into a mix of rain, ice pellets, or even freezing rain at times, especially into Tuesday. That transition period is when conditions can become particularly hazardous. In terms of wind, this system is not expected to be extremely windy overall, since the strongest winds will stay offshore. However, along exposed coastal areas, we could still see gusts reaching up to around 80 kilometers per hour at times. That could lead to some blowing snow and reduced visibility, especially in open areas. Now let's talk about what's happening further west across Ontario and Quebec. On Sunday morning, this system is positioned over the Great Lakes, bringing snow to parts of northern Ontario. This is not what those areas need right now, especially after already seeing significant snowfall recently. The heaviest snow will likely fall east of Lake Superior, where places like Sault Ste. Marie and Sudbury could see upwards of 15 centimeters. Other areas across northern Ontario will generally see around 5 to 10 centimeters. As we move into southern Quebec, snowfall will also develop through the afternoon. Areas in the eastern townships could see between 10 and 15 centimeters, while Montreal may pick up around 5 to 10 centimeters. The Ottawa Valley is looking at lighter amounts, closer to around 5 centimeters. For southern Ontario, conditions are a bit less intense but still unsettled. Expect on and off showers throughout the day, which could be a mix of rain and wet snow depending on temperatures. It's not a major event here, but it's enough to keep roads wet and occasionally slick. Now shifting over to the prairies, this is where things calm down significantly. There is a cold front draped across the northern prairies, keeping temperatures on the colder side in those areas. But overall, moisture is limited, so even though a few weak systems pass through, they won't bring much in terms of precipitation. You may see some light flurries across central and northern areas, but for the most part, it's a dry and relatively quiet day across the prairies. And finally, let's head out to British Columbia, where the story has been all about heavy rain over the past several days. Some areas, especially on western Vancouver Island, have picked up incredible rainfall totals, with some locations seeing over 400 millimeters. Parts of the lower mainland have also seen over 300 millimeters of rain. But the good news is that conditions are finally improving. Sunshine has returned, and it's expected to stick around through Sunday and into Monday. There could still be a few leftover flurries early in the day, especially in the lower mainland, but overall, it's a much quieter pattern compared to what we've seen recently. That said, even though the rain has stopped, the impacts are still being felt. Rivers and streams remain high, and water is still moving quickly through the system. So caution is still needed, especially in areas prone to flooding. Looking ahead, the quiet weather in British Columbia won't last forever. Another system is expected to move in by Tuesday and Wednesday, bringing a return of rain along with dropping temperatures. So to sum it all up, this Sunday across Canada is a mix of extremes and transitions. We've got bitter cold in the north, active winter weather across eastern Canada with significant snowfall on the way, quieter and cooler conditions across the prairies, and a much-needed break from heavy rain in British Columbia. As we move into the start of the week, the focus will remain on Atlantic Canada for heavy snow and mixed precipitation, while other regions experience more stable but still seasonable conditions. If you're heading out today, make sure you're prepared for the conditions in your area, especially in regions expecting snow or rapidly changing weather. Stay safe, stay informed, and keep watching as we continue to track these systems moving across the country.